Students are finding creative ways to stay in touch with their classmates and friends during this isolation period. A lot of question marks for a lot of people around the world right now. One student took it to the next level by using Minecraft to build a replica of her school, Hunter College High School in New York, so students can actually celebrate prom and graduation virtually. I think this is such an incredible idea. That student is Ruby Allison. Ruby, thank you so much for joining us. How's it going?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's great.
This is a really cool idea. So walk me through it. How did the idea come about?
Well, it really started as a joke. You know, people were going around saying like, oh, now that we can't have prom, we should just have a Minecraft prom. But I was like, that's actually, like, I love Minecraft. I would like to have prom. It sounds like a great idea. And so I got on my server and we went on Google Maps, Google Earth. And it turns out that they have this topographical view of all of New York. And so we were able to take that and copy it right into the game.
Wow. So I imagine something like this would take a long time. So how long did it take? How many people were involved?
Well, it actually took a shorter time than you would think, since we had so many people who were really excited about working on the project that, once we really started going, I thought it would take a very long time, but everyone got on and they started working and we had it done within a few days, the exterior.
Wow, pretty impressive. How many people total do you think were actually working on it?
I'd say 10 or 11 total.
Okay. How did it feel when you finally finished it?
Well, it was almost uncanny standing in the courtyard and seeing these views that I had seen for so long in real life. And it really felt almost for a second like I was returning to, normal school function. Yeah,
I mean, look, the quarantine was very shocking, very abrupt for a lot of people around the world, but especially students. I feel for students. You're not able to do your prom, your graduation, these things that you usually have a lot of memories with. Here you're able to actually do it. But when you first heard about the news of staying at home, how did you deal with it initially? And then how did building this replica kind of help you and your fellow classmates?
Well, initially I was just so surprised and it really shook me off my schedule. And, I didn't know what to do. It was hard for me to get organized. But I think once me and my friends found something to do, and especially this thing to do that feels so much, so connected to our school, I think it really brought us together, and I think it gave us that sort of semblance of normalcy that we needed to, keep going in this super, super weird time.
What would you say is maybe your favorite thing or the thing that you miss most about being at school?
It's really it's the structure. It's so hard for me to be at home and think about getting things done when I used to have this space that really made it so clear to me when I should be doing work. And, when I came home, I was like, oh, finally I can relax. But now that those two spaces are just so sort of rudely put together, it's hard to, do either of those effectively.
Yeah, well, luckily you've been making good use of your time, and it's really exciting that you get this virtual prom and virtual graduation. Walk us through what that's going to look like.
Well, I've been thinking about this. Since it's not, run by the administration like the real graduation is, I think it's going to be maybe a little bit more comedic than the normal graduation.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be an opportunity for all of us to get together and really celebrate the time that we had together in school. I think, there's a little bit of added pomp and circumstance, but I think that's what the real prom and graduation are anyway.
Yeah, are you going to be Skyping in, doing video? How is that logistically going to work, just out of curiosity?
Well, I think we're all going to be on a big group call, and then as many of us as possible are going to be on the server. But I had an idea that since not everyone in my school has Minecraft, that I could live stream myself attending prom and graduation, and I could set that live stream up so that everyone in the school or everyone in our grade could watch it.
I love it. You're so creative, Ruby. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us and chatting with us. I'm definitely going to be on the lookout to see how this all goes down. And congratulations on your upcoming graduation.
Thank you for having me.
With so many hospitals in New York suffering from a shortage of medical supplies, and in particular hospital gowns, Rachael Rothenberg knew she had to jump into action. As a woman who works in fashion, most recently the head of product design and development for a luxury brand, Rothenberg gathered a group of 30 volunteers who knew how to sew and then organized a way for them to create hospital gowns for hospitals in need. So far, they've made 300 gowns, and that's only the beginning. Joining me today to talk about their efforts is Rachael Rothenberg herself. So tell me a little bit about how this project got started.
Well, as we know, hospitals are facing more and more challenges every day. We've all heard how there's a shortage of supplies for personal protection equipment, masks, gowns, ventilators. Myself and two of my friends, having been in the fashion industry, we have the skills, the contacts, the knowledge, how to make some of these items that are in need, particularly the medical gowns. So we feel like we owe it to our community to step up and take action and start making these gowns. We all posted just a little something on our personal Instagrams, and it's amazing the volunteers and friends also within the fashion industry who came forward.
That is amazing. And with that, the materials that you are using, who is purchasing them? Have you received donations? Is it just out of the volunteers' pockets and what they can afford?
So right now, this first batch of 300 gowns is completely self-funded. We're hoping going forward to maybe receive donations. We've set up a GoFundMe, which if people just search Garment District for gowns, they'll be able to find it. We just felt passionately about this and didn't want to waste any time. So we are completely self-funded for this first round.
How do you determine which hospitals receive the gowns?
So we've been in touch with the governor of New York's office, and they determine which hospital is in the most need for these missing supplies. We've reached out to New Jersey hospitals as well, although they'll be needing them, I think, a little bit further down the road.
And what's been the most important thing for you in terms of getting involved? Like, what was the driving force for you to get this off the ground and start growing?
It just felt like the right thing to do. The garment industry knows how to make this, so I think we just all owe it to the healthcare workers.
Well, Rachael, I sincerely appreciate everything that you have been doing with the volunteers, and of course for joining us today. We look forward to seeing the fruits of your labor going to the hospital staff, and as always, stay safe out there.
When the quarantine started, Katy Quinn, a high school teacher, noticed a lot of her friends on Facebook wanted to help their neighbors. They just didn't know how. And Katy sprung into action. She created the Cinnamonson Helping Cinnamonson volunteer group to coordinate grocery shopping, supply deliveries, and check-ins for people in need. So far, she's rallied more than 90 volunteers, and they've helped 50 families and counting. Joining me now, Katy Quinn. Hey, Katy.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
What inspired you to create this group, and how did you organize it?
Well, I saw a lot of my friends on Facebook were writing messages that they had extra food if anybody needed any, if they knew of any kids that needed anything, to message them. And I thought that was so nice, and I kept seeing more and more people writing it. But then I thought, I wasn't sure how comfortable people would be, like sending a message to them, and I didn't know if they were going to hit the right audience. Like I didn't know if they were going to hit the people that actually needed something. And so I thought if there was a way that I could streamline it for everybody, like in our town. And I'm an organizer. I do union organizing usually and community organizing too. And so I have certain skills with social media and like using Google and Google Forms. And so I just started to put it together.
Being at the helm of this, what has this experience been like for you, and what's been your response to not only the outpouring of support, also the many people that have been in need of supplies? What's been your response, reaction to all of that?
I'm really overwhelmed by how many people are stepping up and the different kinds of people. We had, right away, we had the chief of police call me and say that when he was off work, that he would be willing to make deliveries. We had the superintendent offer and sign up as a volunteer. One of the most important parts of this is that, like, that feeling of like compassion and being able to help your neighbors. It actually makes not just your neighbor feel good, but it makes you feel good too. And it gives us some kind of purpose, so that instead of just being locked in, even with keeping social distancing, we know that we can help people that need it the most.
It was a joy speaking with you, Katy. Thank you so much for everything you've done, and thanks so much for joining us today. Stay safe, and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you for covering this story.